Hello, hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you another edition of Keeping Modern Janky, featuring my Lukka Surprise deck with Blood Moon, and we have a turn 2 Blood Moon, so we're going to auto-keep this even though we basically have nothing else going on in our hand, but we came here to see if Blood Moon can host some people and buy us time to stick our Emrakul, and that's what we're going to do. Let's go get a Forest, Halfling, hope it doesn't die. At least it doesn't, well, we're on the play. I'm going to say at least it doesn't die to Orcish Bowmasters, but, you know, it dies to everything else. People play with their one-drop removal spells. Looks like it might be in for a death. Oh, just the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Alright, well that's good. So we can get the Blood Moon down. We could also just Lightning Bolt the Dragon's Rage Channeler, but I'm going to go ahead and hope this Blood Moon hoses our opponent enough that then we can Lightning Bolt the Dragon's Rage Channeler. It doesn't, you know, the Lightning Bolt or Blood Moon doesn't stop Ragavan, doesn't stop Dragon's Rage Channeler. So they dash in the Ragavan, they get a treasure token. Oh, they just have 3 Dragon's Rage Channelers. That's also acceptable for them. So now they just need to fill their graveyard. Hopefully the rest of their hand, though, is just dead. And we can draw into our combo. Another Halfling. The Halflings not being able to cast themselves because of... Oh, they have a subtlety. They just want to fill their graveyard. And that's okay. They're exiling it anyway. They're not going to fill their graveyard. The subtlety will go to the graveyard, though. Put that on the bottom. We don't really need another one. Play a mountain. Lightning Bolt one of those guys. Now they're 2 card types away. Then they have ways to set themselves up by surveilling. So I mean, the Blood Moon is buying us time, slowing our opponent down, but it's not just a free win by any means. Yeah, there's a Lightning Bolt. So yeah, it may not even buy us that much time. They didn't. They surveilled into something, and maybe it was an island. I don't know why else they would keep it on top if they could put it in the graveyard and get 2, 3, 3 flyers. Alright, well we did find our Lukka. So this is exactly why I wanted to try Blood Moon in this deck. We're on turn 4, we're a little bit slow, but our Blood Moon hopefully has slowed down our opponent enough that we can resolve this Lukka, and then our opponent will tap down maybe? Perhaps? Another Lightning Bolt, never mind. Now we're in trouble because we have the Lukka, but we don't have any more 1-drops. So our opponent's had the very... I mean, Izzet plays a lot of red spells, obviously. Unholy Heats, Lightning Bolts, and all their creatures except for Murktide. And, well, they do play a couple of that other 1/2 flyer. I'm blanking on the name of it. It's a blue creature. Either way, Blood Moon come down on turn 2. Our opponent's hand is uniquely positioned to answer and threaten us at the same time. Because here we have Subtlety with a blue spell to pitch to get rid of our other mana dork. 2 lightning bolts to kill our the other 2 mana dorks, and to set up their draws. I mean, it's just, you know, it is what it is. We're going to cycle this, try to find another land at least, and then another piece to our combo. We need a land and a creature before we die, and we're on a 2-turn clock, so. Alright, well, that does buy us a little bit of time. We found a lightning bolt. We're still a land and a creature away from a Lukka, but that gives us, puts us on a 4-turn clock rather than a 2-turn clock. And hopefully our opponent's out of any sort of red spells. That would be best. I mean, they've managed to just, and they're still doing it. They're still going. All 4 Dragon's Rage channelers. Sure, why not? Why would you want to draw your blue spells when I finally got a Blood Moon down? So we really need, even this isn't going to be enough. There's the Hierarch and the land. Can't cast the Hierarch this turn. And we need the land. So So the land comes down as a mountain. We can't cast the Lukka. We go to 1. The Hierarch we can't cast, so we're dead. So we have to take the land. Play the land. And die. This is very frustrating. Our opponents managed to not care about our Blood Moon because, and I mean, I get it. Izzet isn't going to be as punished by Blood Moon as a lot of decks, but our opponent has had the best draw against our turn 2 Blood Moon. 4 Dragon's Rage Channelers, Lightning Bolts, 2 Lightning Bolts. The subtlety with the blue spell, instead of drawing into blue spells, they've drawn into things they can cast to then set up their draws further. So yeah, very frustrating. And we're dead. So that was fun. So yeah, the more I play, I mean, again, this is a small sample size. I've played Blood Moon now a few times. This is like my 9th match with Blood Moon and Lukka Surprise. And Blood Moon just isn't what it used to be. In that game, you saw, even if, let's say they'd gotten a Ragavan, they could get a treasure token and turns on their mana. So like there's so many ways around Blood Moon these days. And then in that situation, our opponent had to get extremely lucky to find the answers, or to find the threats and the answers. They drew threats and answers through a Blood Moon. 4 Dragon's Rage Channelers. I mean, they couldn't have drawn their blue spells. They had to draw all their red spells. That's the kind of luck we've encountered here at CyclesGaming.com. But also, we're playing a very janky deck that is going to be fighting an uphill battle against almost all the main decks in the format. We don't have that many good matchups. Maybe Tron and Amulet Titan are some of our decent matchups, but we saw they just didn't care about Blood Moon. If they had drawn differently, they would have cared about Blood Moon, but they drew better. They drew really, really well, and normally Izzet's going to be able to draw some threats anyway. But they had every answer, every threat through a Blood Moon to what we were trying to do. So very frustrating. And now they're going to bring in a lot of counter magic. We're going to take out our Blood Moons. Bring in our Veils of Summer. Bring in a Storm's Wrath to help fight against what they're doing. I mean, this is unlikely to resolve is the problem, right? I mean, we saw it would have been a backbreaker in the last game. Unlikely to resolve is what I would say, though. All right, well, we could try again for the turn 2 Blood Moon, and just now they know that the jig is up, as I say, and they know it's coming. So they're going to play around it for sure, and it didn't even hurt them that badly. Although, some of that's just bad luck. We'll keep. I mean, we have a couple ways of digging. One of our combo pieces, we have a sweeper, we have a first interaction. So we're a long ways away from winning with Emrakul, but we hopefully will be able to stay alive and find our answers against what our opponent's trying to do, as they probably mull for some kind of basic land. So I'm going to go ahead and run out this mountain over a tapped Stomping Ground. I want to be able to Lightning Bolt their first threat, and then still be able to cast Bitter Reunion on our turn, depending on what we draw. Probably going to go for an island, or do they have No Fear? I mean, Izzet plays Blood Moon in their sideboard, so apparently No Fear. Surveil Land seems really good in the Izzet decks. They want to fill their graveyard. Kept it on top. Ragavan might not be a bad draw right here to give us a little bit of ramp. Alright, so Catacombs. I think what we're going to do, even though I've done this before and just regretted it immensely, we might take a Ragavan hit, but we're gonna Bitter Reunion and pitch the Catacombs. And you know, we need to get the 5 mana, but then this is what happens a lot of times. You end up you pitch your 4th land into no lands, and that's fine. We'll draw a land eventually, right? And next turn we can. Our opponent's probably. I don't know what our opponent thinks we're doing, other than Blood Mooning them. All right, there's the Dragon's Rage Channeler, and they have a follow-up spell to Surveil. So on our turn, we can get this Fable down while there's a window. Start digging further, and maybe save our Storm's Wrath for whatever they commit to the board. Maybe they play a Ledger Shredder. That's the card I couldn't remember. Maybe they'll tap down for a Ledger Shredder and another Dragon's Rage Channeler or something like that, and then we can get them with the Storm's Wrath. So I'm going to play the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. See if they have the Force of Negation, which why wouldn't they? Opponent has it all. Just kidding, they don't. Okay, get the Goblin token and pass the turn. My son's off spring break and he's enjoying some video game time while I do my work. And they're not going to commit anymore to the board, unfortunately. Anyway, and he needs some help with something on the video game. It's Jurassic World 2, I believe, Evolution. Alright, so another preordain maybe? Yeah. Come on, you know you want to cast a Ledger Shredder. Opponent's just been 2 to the top, 1 none to the bottom. Alright, what do we want to discard? We can discard this. Do we dare to discard the land and hope to draw 2 more? Or to draw into a land? So we'll discard... Man, this, and the Storm's Wrath is tempting to discard. Alright, we're going to go for it. We're going to be greedy and get... Okay, didn't get punished, thankfully. So we could just... Let's see, we're going to go ahead and... So we want this Hierarch. Let's see what our opponent does after we attack. So I don't want to run this Hierarch out there just to get killed by our Storm's Wrath. But now we're going to have another 2-drop that can die to the Storm's Wrath. So I'm not sure how much it's worth not running it out there, to be honest. I think we'll hold on to this Bitter Reunion another turn, see what our opponent gets up to. And we could have played that very differently and gotten 3 points of damage in, but instead we wanted to see our opponent's reaction before combat and before we did anything else, and that's one reason why we waited. Alright, so I think now we're going to Lightning Bolt this. See if they have any answers. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we lost a point of damage there, but I wanted to see if our opponent tapped, I don't know, anything to kill the Goblin Shaman token before we attacked with it, so I didn't want to commit anything else to the board until I saw what happened. And maybe I was playing around something that doesn't exist, but playing around getting more information about my opponent's hand, I would say. Alright, so they hit another island. So now would be a good time to draw Lukka. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lukka. Footfall crater. So we could cycle it. We could also just use it to pitch to this bitter reunion. We could they give this haste and attack for 4, or just attack for 3. If we tap this and, questions. I think what we're going to do is cast another bitter reunion. I think the 2 cards are more viable than... Okay. So we can pay 1 to sack. I don't think we need... Yes, we do. We want to Veil of Summer mana. We're just trying to get in damage while we can. So we can make this, and we're going to get 2 treasure tokens if we copy that though, versus copying this to get 2 triggers. Now we're into the janky beat plan of our game, of our deck. Exalted triggers, tokens from the Reflections of Kiki Jiki. Storm's Wrath is looking worse and worse. Our opponent must have brought in a ton of counter magic or something to combat what we're doing. Now we really want to save this Veil of Summer to get through a Lukka. Murktide, I imagine. Alright, so this is the turn to draw into a Lukka. So we get the Lukka. We're again 1 turn away from winning with the Lukka. So if we can, last game of the last match, if we had drawn a land, we would have won the game. And now we're in a position where if we draw the Lukka, we can win the game. Lukka, 1 time deck, 1 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, not even not a Lukka. So what we can do is we can Storm's Wrath. Attack and then do Storm's Wrath. Kill this Murktide Regent. And force our opponent to have something else. But then what that does is it just wipes our entire board. And leaves us needing many answers to find, or many combo pieces to find a way to win this game. Alright, this is frustrating, but the chances of drawing the Lukka, they are very slim. The last game, the chances of drawing the land are much better. So we can copy this and attack for 4, and it would die. Then we Storm's Wrath, and we lose everything. Instead, I think we just have to play a land and pass the turn, sadly, and live to fight another day. Now, though, our opponent has no reason to tap down. They can leave all their mana open and start swinging in through the air. Although we have them on a 3-turn clock, and we're on a 3-turn clock, so they'll be ahead of the game. But either way, they're going to have something else to commit to the board. Let's see what we're drawing. But anyway, my point is now they have enough blue to do double counter magic. So if we try to push through this, if we do happen to draw Lukka, and we try to use the Veil of Summer to push it through, they can counter the Veil of Summer, and then the Lukka will get countered anyway. So not looking good for the home team right now, I would say. Well, we're dead to that in a bolt anyway. So we'll keep our opponent off from knowing what we're doing. Maybe we'll get lucky. Come on, Lukka. Lukka. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Good card. Not that good for us right now, though. So can I activate this now? I can't. Oh well. We don't need the treasure token, but I don't know what I clicked OK too fast is what happened there, but we don't really need another treasure token given what our opponent's up to and the fact that they're going to probably hit us down to 2 and then lightning bolt us to death. But we do have enough. This does put us, yeah, our opponent's got the bolt. I was going to say this does give us enough damage on board to kill our opponent when they go to, if they swing out and do not happen to have the lightning bolt. Here comes the lightning bolt. Yep. Well, that was frustrating. Another game where we were in a position to at least get a game if we had drawn a little bit differently. And in game 1, the Blood Moon just did not do anything against our opponent's draw. If our opponent had the type of draw they had this game, last game when we stuck the Blood Moon on turn 2, I think it would have been good enough to get us there. But instead, they drew all 4 Dragon's Rage Channelers. So sometimes that happens. All right, well, for Johnny Cycles, I keep saying it backwards. For CyclesGaming.com, this is Johnny Cycles. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Janky with Johnny Cycles. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my website, CyclesGaming.com, for original Magic the Gathering content. You can read about my Commander decks or my Janky Modern brews. My latest article is about the Zombie Precon and its effect on Commander. I give you a couple different deck lists. If you're interested in a science fiction / fantasy novel, be sure to check out my book, The Podcon. I'm publishing it serially, a couple chapters every month. Again, thanks for watching. Check me out on YouTube, Johnny Cycles. Click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.